So, when you think of an effect cymbal, something like this might come to mind. A seemingly normal crash, but it's got some holes cut out in it? Well, you should know that there are alternatives out there, different designs that can sometimes provide a more unique characteristic out of that effect cymbal. Let's take a deep dive, really dig into 3 different cymbals, all from Zildjian L14-inch, and see how they sound and how they're constructed differently. We're going to take a look at the Trashformer from the sound effects line, the Custom EFX, and the I-Series Trash Crash. Okay, let's start on my far left with this guy, the Trashformer. This is a kind of distinct looking cymbal because there's actually 3 very severe bends in the cymbal, the design of which supposedly came out of an idea from the drummer Mike Mangini. Now, this cymbal was not always part of the sound effects line. As you can see here, I have a broken ZXT version of this cymbal. So that means that this cymbal is actually not a B20 alloy. It's a little bit of a cheaper alloy, and the price actually does reflect it. It is a bit of a cheaper cymbal as well. But even though it is a cheaper cymbal, I find that 3 bends on the cymbal actually helps give it a really unique sound. Now, if you go on the used market and you look for this, just a couple things to note. Zildjian, they apply a kind of color onto the cymbal, and how the color has looked has changed over the years. So if you go and get really one of the older ones, like one of the ZXTs, they may look a little bit more like an orangish hue to it. You may also find some that actually have 4 bends instead of 3. I would recommend staying away from them, whereas the 3 bends is kind of a cool, trashy sound. I found the 4 bend version that I've used in the past to be just kind of like a lame, trashy sound. Next up, we've got this EFX cymbal from the Custom line. And since it's an Custom, that means it should have a B20 alloy. And the price point does reflect that as well. This EFX is about double the price of that Trashformer. Now, while both of these cymbals should be fairly bright and fairly dry, by dry I mean lower amount of overtones, the Custom version should actually have a much shorter sustain to it, likely due to the fact that all the holes are cut into it. Finally, we've got this I-Series Trash Crash. According to the label, it can also be used as a trash hi-hat top. Now, this is from the I line, and the I line only uses a B8 alloy, right? So that's basically the bottom line, the cheapest alloy that they have. That actually makes this cymbal, the I-Series, a little bit cheaper than the Trashformer, but not by much. Now, I wouldn't myself normally gravitate to one of the cheaper lines, but I was surprised in the past when I had first tried a Trashformer. So I thought we should give the I-Series a try as well. Perhaps I will be equally surprised there. Now, according to Zildjian, this cymbal should be the brightest of the bunch. I'm guessing that's due to the heavier lathing, the heavier hammering. It also seems to have a steeper pitch to the bow compared to at least the Custom. Also, you'll notice that kind of running down the sides here, there's basically 8 of these things, where there's this extra set of hammering that just kind of goes down this line. And it's almost like it causes the cymbal to bend like that. So it kind of a little bit of a more distinct shape of the cymbal as a result. Now, one thing to note, since they did call out this cymbal as being a possible hi-hat top effect, I was thinking that it was going to be heavy in weight like a hi-hat top. But that doesn't seem to be the case. The cymbal is only in the 600 gram range, whereas my New Beat hi-hat top and my Custom Dark hi-hat top, those are both 1,000 grams plus. Just a quick note on the recording setup before we get to the sound samples. So I'll be using a pair of Earthworks omnidirectional microphones, so those should be really flat sounding. That's going into an A-Design specific preamp before the computer, and once in the computer. I'm not going to be doing any special processing on those 2 tracks outside of time and phase correction, but my other tracks will have additional processing. Okay, so my initial thoughts, and I may have confirmation bias here, but the Trashformer was my favorite of the bunch. But here's kind of my general rundown. The A Custom, I thought it had a very glassy sound, if that makes sense. Definitely the shortest sound, the quickest cutting of the bunch. But I didn't think it cut through well enough, especially when I was hitting one of the effect cymbals and a crash at the same time, at least from this position. It sounded like this cymbal was getting lost, whereas these two were cutting through. And I would also say that these two both had maybe a wider range of frequencies, a more complex sound to them. So if you're looking for something that's more complex, these are probably better. If you're looking for something that kind of maybe sits in the background a little bit and doesn't get in the way, then maybe the A Custom is a little bit better on that front. Now, something I didn't like about the I that I thought was better on both of these is when I was hitting this, especially, towards when I was playing on the top, it didn't seem like the cymbal was opening up. It seemed like very muted or choked. It wasn't until I was really hitting it hard on the sides that it sounded like it was opening up. And when it did open up, I still didn't think it opened up as much as the Trashformer or the A Custom EFX. So that is, of course, where I'm getting to my confirmation bias of liking the Trashformer the most, because I thought it opened up and it has a good, distinct sound all of its own. So I hope you guys found that useful. I am putting out more stuff all the time. Stick reviews and cymbal reviews and recording tips and lessons, the whole gambit of drum related content. So if you don't want to miss out, then don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, peace.